Hey Leo, welcome. What I'd like to do for you now is a 3-card spread. Recent past, current situation, and moving forward, with a couple of clarifiers, and finally an oracle card. So what I feel like in the recent past I see is that with the 9 of Pentacles and the 5 of Wands, I feel like you have kind of felt like you're on the outs of some kind of situation. Perhaps you felt a little bit like unwanted or not good enough, or there's some kind of self-esteem issue happening here where you felt like whatever you did to try to kind of participate in the world or, take your crack at something, it's like you failed or it wasn't good enough. There's some kind of, especially here with the 9 of Swords and the recent energy, it feels like there's a lot of anxiety about your self-worth. And I think what you're misunderstanding here is with the 9 of Pentacles, it's like this is a bad bitch. This is like a very independent, very competent, very successful single woman, a very desirable one. And I think perhaps you have missed your own value. You have not been able to perceive your own value because there's been, conflict around you, without realizing that that sense of competition was actually meant to compete with you. To me, like in this current energy with the 9 of Swords and the 4 of Wands, it's like it feels like you're really concerned about harmony and creating like a loving environment. Perhaps you really wanted to have connection and closeness, and it's like you didn't realize that this 5 of Wands was actually feeling inspired to compete because of the quality that you bring. It wasn't to shoot you down. It was like the reaction to the insecurity about being around you and being around someone with so much talent or beauty or charisma. It's like there's a disconnect between your self-perception and reality here. And moving forward, it's interesting because it's like all these wands supplementing as clarifiers. With the 3 of Wands and the 3 of Cups, it's like, I feel like it's almost pining for friendship and connection and wholeness through other people. And you felt so much strife, like you felt so left out and you felt so inadequate. And it's like you dream of this community of people who will accept you. And it's really like, perhaps you gotta understand that, you are maybe a little bit more intimidating than you understand, or that you bring a lot of value, and human nature kind of resists or tries to cut down what feels intimidating or frightening, and you have been perceiving it as your own inadequacies. So let me pull a few more oracle cards. Some more clarifiers. Yeah, the 10 of Swords here. I feel like you've, this feeling of inadequacy is actually a really, really damaging and unfair situation. I think that it's like, when you think about how there's a lot of hate towards Leos, like, people kind of automatically assume that Leos are conceited or, too full of themselves or what have you. It's like, and you're misunderstood with that 5 of Wands. It's like, that's actually somebody misjudging you unfairly. That was actually a betrayal to you. That wasn't someone, understanding you or having empathy for you or trying to see your point of view. That's actually a really, really hurtful and harmful thing for someone to automatically assume about you. And I think that has really harmed your self-esteem in a really devastating way. And it causes a lot of anxiety about your future and about your place and about your desirability. And with the King of Coins, the King of Pentacles, it's like you actually have a lot at your disposal. You have a lot of resourcefulness and talents and things that could really lend themselves to you not just surviving, but thriving. You with the King of Coin and the 4 of Wands, it's like you really desire that kind of stability and that bond and that closeness and that community and that needing to be needed, and I think that you've just felt very left out of that. But you underestimate your God-given gifts. And it's like you're distracted by all of this mental anguish rather than seeing what you are actually bringing to the table, which a lot of people are, jealous of. Let's face it, like, why would somebody feel the need to cut you down unless they were feeling really jealous or really inadequate themselves, right? So here in the future with the Death card and the Three of Cups and the Three of Wands, it's like this anticipation of something, or this yearning for something that I think you're going to have to come to terms with. It's not that you can't have community or friends or friendship or people that appreciate you, but I think you're going to have to understand the reality of human nature much more acutely and see that this isn't a you thing, this is a them thing. You come to the table with a lot of good intentions, and when people try to, make you feel insecure or inadequate, it's a them thing, and you got to get over the headache. You've got to get past the blockages that you put onto yourself, because you have to understand the way that people operate, how they want to cut you before you cut them. I mean, it's a harsh reality, but I think that it'll serve you to understand that, you kind of have to be an independent operator and understand that you can't be giving all of your energy and resources to people who are chewing them up and spitting them out and then making you feel like the bad guy for offering up your brightness, your energetic expansion. It's like maybe you need to kind of understand that you are top dog. Let me pull an oracle card. The Scholar, investigation, research. I sort of feel like this is a call to understand psychological and political dynamics a little bit deeper. Like, I think maybe you need to understand what's going on in these dynamics that have led you to, like, you approached these situations with an open heart, right? And then you got this negative reaction, and you're going, well, like, what's wrong with me? And I think what you have to understand more deeply are the psychological depths and realms that elicit a response from people as they are these archetypes that are operating with their own sort of motivations and insecurities and things that you might be eliciting or triggering in them to get a response. It's not personal. And I think that's going to really benefit you in understanding where you actually stand and where your power really is. Instead of getting sucked into these mind games, you go, okay, they were just trying to kind of mess with my head, or they were reacting out of their own trauma responses or whatever it is. And you depersonalize it, then I think you can actually open and expose yourself to being closer to people because you're not as vulnerable around their irrationality. I think that's actually a very beneficial thing. It's not closing you off. It's actually giving you a lot more internal strength to handle the world as it really is. So that's what I got for you. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again. Take care.